Alright, so in this lesson I'm going to show you how to design or how to draw this duct system using AutoCAD. Already did all the design work figuring out the sizes of everything. I just want to go through and show how I would actually draw this using AutoCAD. All the different steps starting out from basically an empty AutoCAD drawing. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to set up my units. I'm going to type in units and I'm going to change it to architectural, and just in case I'm going to drop my precision down to 4 spaces and a 32nd of an inch. Say OK. I'm going to hit F7 to get rid of the background there, and I'm going to go through and set up some layers. To start with, I'm going to use a quarter inch equals a foot scale. So I might as well go ahead and set that before I do anything else. So the first layer I'm going to make is M-SA-duct, and I'm going to make that color green. Okay, we'll go ahead and close that, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to start drawing, and I'm going to put it on that current layer. Change the layer to the M-supplier duct that I just made. I'm going to draw a line. I'm going to turn my ortho on, and that first section of ductwork, about 8 feet long, just to get me started. And turn this UCS icon off too. Go to view, click it off, and whenever I look back at the picture, it's 24 by 12. So basically what this means is 24's, the first number is the number that you see. So we're looking at this in plan view. So the number that I see is the width of the ductwork. So the width of the ductwork is 24, the height of the ductwork is 12. So I'm just going to offset 24. Might stretch this out a little bit more there. And the next one is 16 by 12. So whenever I look at that on here, I have 16 by 12 in this section. So I'm just going to stretch this bottom piece out like that. I'm going to offset it up 16 inches. And I'm going to connect this line to this line. So whenever I do this, I want it to be at a 15-degree angle. So I'm going to uncheck my ortho. And I have my dynamic input turned off. I could do that if I wanted to. I could leave that on. If I want to make it really simple, I can just draw the line and I can rotate it 15 degrees. And I'm going to go ahead and mirror it. So I have one for both directions. I'm just going to put them off to the side, and I can use them for later. I'm going to copy this from there to there, then I'm going to fill it. And now I know this is at a 15-degree angle. So whenever I look at the sketch, I see that there's a line here and a line here that basically identifies this transition, and that's what this is. It's a transition in the ductwork from width of 24 to 16 with the height remaining 12 inches the whole way through. I'll just draw a line from there to the perpendicular, endpoint perpendicular, and I have a start for the ductwork. I'm going to come back to this one, and I'm going to draw this little section right here now. So it's a 20 by 8, and this is a little takeoff from this ductwork from the main. So I'm going to start out with drawing that. I have 20 by 8, and actually I'll just start by drawing a line up this way. I'm going to offset it 20, and now down here to make that transition, I'm going to offset 3 inches. I think I'll do 4 inches instead. Offset 4 inches, and I'm going to draw a line that is 45 degrees. See how that looks. It's a little steep for a transition. I think I'll do 30 degree. See how that looks. A little bit better. So I'm going to take that 30 degree line, and I'm just going to move it to there, and I'm going to fill it this and that. I'm going to trim that off, and that section. Now I have that section of ductwork started. And I'm going to come out here probably about 5 or 6 feet, and then I'm going to transition down to a 14 by 8. So I think I'll just stretch this line back, offset the bottom line of 14 inches, and I'm going to come over here, I'm going to copy this line, and this time I'm just going to rotate it 90 degrees. And it's gone the wrong direction, so I'm going to mirror it. And I'll pick it up and move it from the end point to there. Do fillet, do a line from the end point to the perpendicular, line from end point to perpendicular. And then I'll just stretch these lines out a little bit. I'm going to trim this off again. At this point I can put some lines on the end, the ductwork, close those off. Alright, so at this point I'm going to come back in and I'm going to draw these. This is a little bit different than this one, where this only has the takeoff in one direction here. So basically this is to show that we have airflow coming down here and being directed into this branch line, whereas this is a round takeoff for connection for flex duct. So this represents a conical object ductwork in plan view. So to draw this, we're going to make it very similar to that. I'm just going to mirror the other line over to the other side. So instead of wasting time redrawing all that, I'm just going to grab this from that end point, copy it. I'm going to bring it down here, and if those were 6 inch, I believe, they were 10 inch. So I'm just going to offset this line over 10 inch. I'm going to trim that off. I'm going to mirror this, and there's my round duct takeoff. And this is a pretty good size. A lot of times I like to use a 45 instead. So if I was going to use a 45, I would just draw my horizontal line and rotate 45. And you can see that if I use this, it's not taking up so much space on that duct. I can mirror this over. I can get rid of these. And that's my round duct takeoff. And whenever I look at my image, I have another one out here at the end, one on this side, all that are 10 inches. So copy this whole thing down here, and I'm going to also mirror the whole thing over there, and I'm going to move it down a little bit, and I have to put in my diffusers now so I know where I'm actually going to go to. So I have diffusers already made as blocks. If I go to Control 2 and I bring up my design center, I can go to folders and I can locate the file that I have with those in it. So we keep all of our blocks in the Drafting Share AutoCAD folder, and whenever I look in here I have blocks and details, and I have a 2017 CAD standards that I'll click on, and I actually have all kinds of different things in here: dimension styles, layers, layouts, multi-leader styles, text styles. Once you create those once, you shouldn't have to ever create them again. You should just be able to drag them and drop them. If I click blocks, then I can come in here and I can find my diffuser. So I'm just going to look around here real quick, and whenever I find my diffuser right here, I just click it, drag it and drop it, and I'm going to go ahead and close out of that. I have this diffuser built as where it has a tag already built into it. So I'm just going to explode this, erase that. I'm going to go ahead and leave this in here to show the direction of the airflow. If I want to use that later on, I just basically make a little donut to indicate the airflow direction. I have 4 up here, those ones, and that one. Let's copy that down, turn my ortho back on. Move these off to the side. I have enough of those. I can probably copy it from somewhere else. Mirror the diffusers. Bring these in a little bit. Mirror them to the other side. I think my proportions are a little bit off. Stretch these down a little bit. Copy one there, and we'll just make this one a little bit different. Copy one there, copy one here. Stretch this down a little bit since it's a little bit closer. I'm using the same commands over and over and over: offset, fillet, stretch, trim. Draw a line across these. And I'm just going to real quickly go into my layers. I'm going to change the color of my diffusers to something different so that you can see the difference between them. I'm going to go with a cyan for right now. I was thinking magenta, but I wanted to use that for my text later on, so. Alright, so the next thing is I'm going to draw what represents flex duct going up to these. So I'm just going to basically do a P line, and I'm going to pick the midpoint of this line as my start point. I'm going to type W for width, and I'm going to start out with a 2-inch width for the starting width and a 2-inch for the ending width. I'm going to draw a straight section and turn my ortho off. I'm basically just going to go back and forth, something like that. Looks horrible. So now I do my pettit. Let's type in pettit, select the previous P line I made, and type in S for spline, and it magically turns it into a spline. If I really wanted to, I could clean up this edge a little bit, extend it, and then trim it. I really don't care. So I could go through and I could do that for each one of these. I still need my takeoffs there. Cut it. And I'm going to pause it and finish some more of those. There we go. Alright, so the other thing with these, they're still round takeoffs for this, but they're only 6-inch takeoffs up here. So I'm going to copy this right here. I'm just going to copy it off to the side. I'm going to rotate it. Turn my ortho back on. My F8 no longer works. So I have to use that little button. I'm going to stretch this up 2 inches. I'm going to move it from that end point to the nearest. I'm actually going to stretch this back a little bit, and I'll copy this again from here to there, and then I'm going to mirror this to that side, mirror this to that side, and I'll just draw some more flex duct on there. So at this point I have all of the ductwork drawn, the diffusers inserted, the flex duct takeoffs, everything's good to go. All I need to do now is put my text in. So first of all, I'm going to make sure that I'm at a 1/4 inch equals a foot scale, and I'm going to go through and I'm going to set up a text style so that you can see how that works. I'm going to go to my annotate tab. I'm going to go up here to the text style, and I'm going to click down and manage text styles. I'm just going to go ahead and click on the annotative one. I don't like the Arial font, so I'm going to change this to Romans. It's a font that doesn't have a thickness. In AutoCAD I can control its thickness by the color or the line weight color I have it on. I'm going to make sure that the box is annotative. I'm going to change the width factor to 0.85. It's not so fat on the page. And I'm going to make the paper text height, the size that I want it to be printed at, 3/32 of an inch. You could also do an 1/8 inch. And I'm going to set it current. I have to save it and then set it current and close it. And I'm going to do single line text because that's all I'm doing is single lines. So I'm going to come up here, I'm going to click single line text. I could also type in dtext. I'm going to click my start point. It asks me for my rotation angle. I'm going to leave it at 0, hit enter, and I'm going to type in 24 by 12 supply air, SA. And then I'll just pick it up and move it into space, in the space there. I didn't make a layer for it yet, so I'm just going to do the layer the quick way. Instead of open up the dialog, I'll type in -LA, enter, M, enter. I'm going to call this M-text, So I'm going to call it m-duct-text m-sa duct text. Hit enter. I'm going to make the color magenta. Enter, enter, enter. And then I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to come up and I'm going to change this to that layer. And I can just copy it around. And I'll copy it once here. And for this, these were 10-inch %% C. Enter. Copy it. Copy it to all these. Just going to copy it to one of those. I think this one was 8-inch, and these ones were 6-inch. And once I have that changed, I'll just copy it to the other locations. And I don't need these directional. This is just after I choose my actual diffusers. It shows the direction of the airflow. These look like they would probably be 4-way diffusers, but you could have 4-way, 2-way, 3-way, 1-way diffusers. And that is basically my completed drawing with correct text height, correct layers, ready to print out.